Hello, welcome everybody to class. This is pop-up yoga for depression and anxiety. And I'm so happy that you guys are here tonight. Whether or not you have depression and anxiety, I've planned this class to give you guys a great experience of some energizing poses, but also some relaxation and some other tools, including breathing along the way. And I always add a little bit of messaging in all of it. So I'm hoping this will be good for you. Let's start out today's class in a relaxed position. So what I recommend is a lying down position because we will sit up and move around a little bit later, but we want to establish that baseline of breath work. So what I have, this is just my yoga mat. You could lay down on whatever you have there. I have a blanket and I just like to roll it up like that and put it right behind my spine. So that's a little bit of a heart opener and it might not be for everybody. So if you try it and you're like, that does not feel good, then please don't feel like you have to stay in that position. I want you to be comfortable. Okay. So I'll demonstrate that. And then I've got a couple of yoga blocks. You might not have blocks. You could use pillows, blankets, whatever you've got. And I like to just elevate my knees a little bit. When you do that, what happens is that your lower back can come down closer to the ground. Oh my goodness. So once you get in your comfortable position, whether you're lying on a blanket or you're just lying flat, whether your knees are elevated, and you could also just do this too, by the way, or whether they're straight out, just kind of wiggle around a little bit, draw your shoulder blades together and down away from your ears. So we're establishing good posture here. Make sure that your chin isn't jutting up like this. So you want your spine to be long. And I just take the edge of my blanket and put it in the curve under my neck. You could do that too. Pick up your bottom and then gently place your lower back on the mat. Make that connection. Arms just along your sides. Close your eyes and then just come to yourself. Okay. So we're going to start out with some breathing first. I'm going to sit up and talk, but you guys stay where you are. If you want to try this while you're breathing, you could put one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. And that's kind of a nice way of noticing where the breath is going when you breathe, if you're a chest breather or a belly breather or somewhere in between. So just take a big deep breath and then just notice the rhythm of your breath, your natural rhythm. Notice that you are breathing. So many times our focus is all over the place. We're like squirrel looking there and looking there. So we're just kind of bringing all of that awareness into your space right now. Are you breathing through your nose? Are you breathing through your mouth? Are you breathing slowly or quickly? So there's no right or wrong answers for this. It's just observations for you to make. So when you're doing your yoga practice, you're putting yourself into a place of being what I like to call a gentle, curious observer. That means you're observing yourself without judgment, so you can create a safe place for yourself to practice. There's enough judgment out there, don't you think? So maybe notice the pace of your breathing. You could start by counting the length of your inhale and then counting the length of your exhale. Don't change it. Just notice what it is. Does it seem irregular? Or maybe you're noticing a pattern emerging as you breathe. You're simply gathering information for yourself. Notice that you are here now, 100% present with each breath. I'm going to have you use your imagination for a moment and just picture right above your head a rainbow, okay? So in your mind's eye, see that rainbow just above your head and see if a particular color of the rainbow is speaking to you or popping out, or just you're noticing it more than the others. And once you notice that color, imagine that that color of the rainbow can just spill out and pour into the crown of your head and just settle into any part of your body that needs it. We can talk later about what all the colors mean. So just for an example, think of a rich green meadow. And as you draw in your breath, inhale the green of the grasses directly into your heart. Or maybe look, if blue is your color, look into the expanse of the blue sky and draw this color into your body. Again, there's no right or wrong way to do this exercise. It's purely your creativity, bringing in really what you need tonight. And this is a good time for you to set your intention for what you want out of your practice. So I'll be your guide. I'll make suggestions and you're free to follow them, and I'll give you lots of options, but you're also free to listen to your body and do what it is that you need to fill yourself up. All right. So let's start to move a little bit. In fact, if you have something under your back, I think it's going to work a little bit better to move it out of the way so your back is flat. We're going to bring your knees into the chest. Give a little squeeze. This is a great way to release pressure in your lower back. Maybe you already do this. I like to do this when I wake up in the morning. And also sometimes when I go to bed at night, I'll do that little squeeze to just release. Then we're going to just make some circles. So with your hand on your knee, circling around and getting into the hip joint, go one direction and then go the other direction. And then you can add your second leg. And then if you're feeling really crazy, you can try some egg beaters and go one direction with one knee and the other with the other knee. So what we're doing here is we're adding some synovial fluid into your hip joints. Most of the joints in your body are synovial fluid. And when that synovial fluid is stimulated by movement, it helps the joints glide instead of having friction. So the more you move, the more you can move. So that's good, right? All right, let's let that go. And let's take a happy baby since we've already done that little hip warm up. If you're new to yoga and you don't know what the terms of the poses are, that's okay. I'll show you. Happy baby is bringing your knees into your chest, but then bringing them out wide. So I'm going to show you from this vantage point. So I have my legs separated, knees towards the armpits. You can hold the backs of your legs like this, or maybe you can reach for your big toe. So like peace fingers to the big toes or outer edges. You could also use a strap. If you have a strap, put it on the balls of your feet and kind of hold like that. All right, so find any version of the happy baby and then see if you can rock from side to side. So anytime that you can rock yourself, you know, it's not just for babies, it's very calming to the nervous system. So I've designed this class today to do a lot of things that help to calm the nervous system, help to regulate. When we get out of balance, that's when we start to have symptoms and problems. And then we're going to let both feet come down to the mat. take one leg and cross it up and over. So now you're just crossing at the knees. Float your bottom foot off the ground, and you can hold just below your knees or like underneath this knee. You're probably going to start to feel it in the glute there. Or maybe you could take your hands and reach for your ankles like that. Okay, don't worry if you can't quite get there or if it feels really uncomfortable. Just do what you can do, all right? Feel free to modify as you need to. Go ahead and close your eyes, and I want you to imagine energy coming in through the crown of your head, going down both arms, entering in through your knees or your ankles, and then crossing over the midline of your body and flowing back up. All right, so whenever you cross the midline of your body, you're helping to connect both hemispheres of your brain, left and right hemisphere. So we're actually doing a little bit of brain fitness right here. Kind of fun, huh? So see how that feels? Maybe it's starting to help you feel a little more energized. I always like to add the little rocking too. All is well, all is well. You can tell yourself that. And then from here, we'll just take a twist. So bring your arms out like a T. Keep your knees crossed if you want to. And so I've got my right leg up on the top. If you're mirroring me, it's the left leg. So we're going to go over with that top leg. So I'm going to the left side, right leg is on top. So you'll be going, if your left leg's on top, to the right. Now you might notice that's kind of an intense twist. You can uncross your legs so you're not twisting as much. And maybe your twist looks more like this. Maybe your knees aren't going to make it to the ground. That's fine. And you can even use whatever you've got around to put underneath that bottom knee. So if your legs are just kind of hanging there and it feels uncomfortable, put something underneath there. Draw your shoulders down again, so you have lots of space. And then if you want to, turn your neck away from the knees and just feel your spine kind of wringing out. Use your breath to help you. So every time you exhale, you're literally releasing toxins from your body. One of our biggest problems is that we go around constantly holding our breath. You know, when you're tense, your shoulders slip up by your ears and you're, just walking around all day like that. So we're trying to put ourselves back into that rest and digest part of the nervous system and come out of the fight or flight where we spend way too much time. It's like there's a crisis all the time and we're just in that place. So use some nice deep breaths to help you sink into your pose. And now we're going to change. So if your legs are crossed, uncross them, bring your knees back up, put your feet on the ground, lift up your bottom, and just make sure your spine is straight, and we'll take side two. So bringing the opposite leg up and over, float your bottom foot up. So your neck and your shoulders, you're still down on the mat here. You don't have to, we're not doing a crunch here. And just holding below your knee or knees or underneath. Find some version that works for you. Or come down to your ankles. And just notice how it feels on this side. Does it feel different? Maybe it's easier on the side. Maybe it's harder on the side. So whatever it is, just noticing without judgment. I like to say, oh, well, that's interesting. Especially if you have an old, let's not call it an injury. Let's call it a project. Come to your awareness and you think, oh, well, there's that old hip or knee or whatever. Instead of getting drawn into the story of what's happened there, just observe it. Well, that is there. And then again, remembering that we're helping to tune up the brain every time we're doing any kind of pose where we're crossing the midline. So this is a little bit of like a lying down eagle pose, or at least the legs are. Bring your arms out wide when you're ready. Take your twist, either leaving your legs crossed or stacking if that feels like too much. I just happen to have a block right here. So here's one way you could do it, is just to put the block underneath your knees. Take a couple of big breaths here. Exhale out your open mouth. Just let it go. Whatever tension or stress has accumulated, it's like a dirty wash rag, like we're taking it and we're just wringing it out and letting that go. If you want more, turn your neck away from your knees, and then you'll get a twist in the cervical spine as well as the lumbar spine. So I'm trying to give you an experience of this, but not stay too long. On my Friday class, I do restorative and yin, where we hold the poses with props for longer lengths of time, and it really helps to open the body. All right, so let's come out of this twisting pose just as intentionally as you went into it. So head or eyes back towards the ceiling, bring your knees up, and then we're going to make our way into a seated pose, but we're going to do it the fun way. So with your legs uncrossed, knees into the chest, we're going to do this rolling like a ball. So you're going to kind of curve your spine, hold underneath your legs, and literally use your legs to power you forward and back. Now, if this is not your cup of tea and it's not fun for you, or you don't feel like you can do it, just come up to a seated pose and I'll meet you there. This one is a really great way to stimulate your spine, help your energy, and it's fun, right? So come up to a seated position with your legs crossed, and that's over. And if you've got something you could put underneath the edge of your seat, for instance, a blanket, it's helpful to lift up just the edge of your seat. Your pelvis is shaped like a bowl. So we're trying to kind of tilt that pelvic bowl forward to help your spine rise up taller. So nice and tall here, hands on your knees. And if you need to have like one leg straight and one leg bent, make adjustments as you need to, okay? Before we go anywhere though, let's set up a nice strong position by drawing the pelvic floor up, navel into the spine, shoulders roll up, down and back. So we have a long neck, and then slide your chin in. This is the way we usually are when we're sitting. See how my chin is going forward? The back of the neck is getting strained. So slide your chin in, hands on the knees, and then we're going to do some torso rolls. So lean forward to one knee, and then lean right into the middle, over to the other knee, and then lean back. So it's kind of like you're doing the samba. I always wanted to be a salsa dancer, but instead I'm a yoga teacher. So if you've got that dancing part of you, have fun with this, even if you don't have fun with it. And then go back the other direction. A nice even breath here, and maybe you can even find a little smile, bonus smile on your face. Catch yourself having fun. One way I like to do these torso rolls is to kind of curve the back when I'm moving back here, like making a C shape. And then as I move forward, I kind of push my chest out. So it's like my back is moving the other direction. And you can really kind of get into it. And then find your middle position here. Take your hands and just with your two peace fingers here, put them right on the ground here. So we're sitting up nice and tall. So I want you to close your eyes, and we're going to talk about grounding for just a minute. So one of the things that happens when we're moving through our lives is that we're busy and things happen to us, and then our body and our spirit sometimes disconnect a little bit, or we feel out of sorts. We don't feel like we're in tune with our body. And so this is a good opportunity for you to just really come into yourself, okay? When we feel disconnected from our body, we don't feel rooted. And really, our body is the filter with which we are living our lives. So we're using our senses to have a rich, full experience of life. But when things happen sometimes, especially traumatic things that causes pain, we have a tendency to kind of separate and not be friends with our body. Okay. Also, in yogic, I don't want to say theory, but in I'll say in yogic theory, there's chakras, which are energy systems. And the root chakra is down here. That's the energy center part of us that helps us feel grounded and safe. So I'm going to give you a couple of affirmations that you could say right here. And if your legs are tired of being straight, bent, you can straighten them. So I am loved. You can say it out loud or to yourself. I belong here. I have a place here. I am God's child. We are all children of God, and we have a place here. We have great worth and we belong. And sometimes things happen to make us forget that. So remind yourself who you are. You belong here. All right, go ahead and lean back. Change your legs. So if you haven't already, put the other leg in the front. And if you need to kind of stretch out your legs, do that. I talked a little bit about getting into our senses and have this big, full experience of life using our senses. I want to teach you something called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's a grounding exercise. So while we're in this position, I want you to notice, first of all, 5 things that you can see right now. So if your eyes are closed, open up your eyes and look around you in your environment right now and see 5 things, any 5 things. Okay, so after that, we're going to go to number 4. Now, notice 4 things that you can touch around you. So maybe it's yourself, your heart, your mat, if you've got a prop, whatever. Notice 4 things that you can touch. And then notice 3 things that you can hear. So maybe you're playing some music in the background, sound of my voice. I can hear the sound of my clock. Just listen, hear. And now notice 2 things that you can smell. Maybe you smell your hair. I washed my hair late tonight or late this afternoon. Maybe something that you cooked for dinner, whatever it is. 2 things that you smell. And 1 thing, finally, that you can taste. So what did you last eat? Maybe you have a mint or gum in your mouth. So being able to engage all 5 of our senses in that way is really helpful in grounding us. So if we are prone to anxiety, that's one of those conditions where you get out of your body and your mind just kind of takes over. So use your senses to come back to your body into that grounded position. All right. Let's come into a deer pose. All right, so with deer pose, we've got one knee bent and then the other knee bent. Okay, so I'm going to take the opposite arm. I've got my left leg here and my right arm. So for you, it's probably the opposite. We're going to sweep forward and we're going to lift up and really open up the front body. So push your pelvis forward, keep your shoulders away from your ears, open up, and then come back. Okay, this leg that's bent kind of backwards, we're going to extend that. I hope you didn't hear my knee just went crack, crack, crack when I did that. And then with your extended leg, draw it back a little bit so your hips are level. Lift up and then just tip forward at the hip. Now, if you have tight hamstrings, maybe having your leg Straight is not going to work. So you could keep it bent. You could even take something and put it under your leg like this, so you feel supported. And again, everybody's forward fold looks different. You know, your forward fold might look like this, like you're just barely coming forward. It doesn't matter. Just find what feels like some kind of stretch to you. All right. And then hold and breathe. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Try to soften your shoulders and your face. Remember, the muscle tension and the holding the breath are good indications that you're forcing. So try to relax that. Lift up. Lean back. Let's open up both legs with your feet on the floor. And then we're just going to tick-tock from one knee to the other. Tick-tock back and forth. And then we'll take our deer pose to the other side. Whoops, I guess it's this side now. Remember what we did? We did a little sweep and open. Oh, it's my left arm extended, my right knee in the front here, and you're reversed if you're mirroring me. So we're going to sweep forward, press into both knees, and just lift up. Okay, shoulders down. So your eye gaze can be up at the ceiling. It could be down at your hand, wherever. And come on back down. And that's over. Take this leg in the back and extend it. So your other foot's staying bent the way it was. Slide it back. Position your torso towards that extended leg. Lift up, relax your shoulders, and then just a slight tip at the hip. You're just hinging forward, you know, holding your leg or hands on the ground. Breathe in through your nose, out through the mouth. In fact, you can pronounce your out breath. Just really let that go. Everything you've been storing up today, just let it go, and let it go. And then we'll come on up. Take your knees together and move into all fours now. So that means you're on your hands and your knees. If you're healing in the knees, you might want extra padding, okay? That's where your blanket comes in handy, especially if you're on a hard surface. I'm on a carpeted surface, so it's a little bit easier. You want to stack your shoulders above your wrists and your hips above your knees. Then we're going to do a little hula hips here. So we've already worked a little bit into the hips, but we're going to work a little bit more because we hold a lot of stress and tension in our hips. So I'm just literally moving from side to side. Let me tuck this in so you can see more what I'm doing. From one side over to the other, and then you can connect the dots and make like a smiley face with your bottom, or maybe you can come all the way around. I do this one a lot. My members know we do this one a lot because it feels good. Hopefully it feels good. You can give me feedback if you hate this. All right. So besides moving into the hips, we're also strengthening our wrists and our shoulders. This is an arm balance too. So we're doing lots of things here. All right, take your knees wide and melt your chest down. We're going to find a child's pose now. And I'll show you lots of ways that you can do it. One way is to extend your arms in front of you like this. And it's a nice big stretch in your armpits and your shoulders. If you can't bend your knees that much, you can keep your bottom kind of hanging up in the air like this and just let your chest melt down. So that's kind of nice. Or if you want your spine to be straighter, you're sitting your bottom down onto your heels. You can either have your knees right next to each other and rest your belly right there on your legs. Or if your knees are wider, you're going to go into your hips a little deeper. And then one of my most favorite things to do in this child's pose is to bring my arms on the inside. So this is a really great pose to take when you can if you're feeling anxious, because it really brings your energy down and calms your nervous system. And to calm it even further, hands inside, because what you're doing is you're coming into that very primal position that you were in when you were in your mother's womb. You were in that little, bunched up position. And our bodies recognize that. So with your hand, another thing you can do, I have to sit up to show you here. Another thing you can do with your hands, this is a hand mudra where you put your thumb on the inside of your palm like that, and then you just gently wrap your fingers around. So it's not a clenching, it's a holding. You're just gently holding the thumb inside, and you're putting those hands like that inside, either with your forehead on the ground, or if you can't quite get down there, you can use a block or a blanket or something to rest on. And then I like to just turn my head. For me, it's more comfortable to rest my cheek than my forehead. So you find any version of child's pose. And if you are not wanting to have your knees bent anymore, just come onto your belly, straighten out your legs and just come right onto your belly. While you're here, feel that sensation of the head lower than the heart. It's like a submitting pose too. So Iyengar was a yogi who developed restorative yoga. He calls this the negative brain. Negative not the opposite of positive, but just kind of slower, quieter kind of brain when you have your head lowered. So while you're here, just take some deep breaths. And just be where you are. Feel that connection to your body. This is a great pose to teach your kids too. When your body feels safe, it's easier to calm down, right? All right, let's take 2 more big breaths here. Hopefully you've already turned your neck the other direction in case you were resting your cheek. You want to do both sides. And then we'll come up, back onto all fours, and we're going to sit back like where we came from, and then we're going to move forward. So just a couple of times, back and forward. Exhale here. Inhale here. Exhale here. You want to slide your hands forward a little further. You might be able to drop your hips a little bit more forward. That's up to you. I know if you're new to yoga, maybe that's not going to happen today. But if you're a practiced yogi, or maybe you're just flexible, you can maybe lower the hips a little bit more. And I think that's enough for right now. So from here, we're going to move into a forward fold, but carefully. So I'm going to move my camera really quick so that you guys can see me. And I don't get cut off. Let's try this. Hello. Still here. So here we were here, child's pose, and then we went to our all fours. And now we're going to tuck our toes, lift our knees up, and you can either walk your hands back towards your feet. Keep your knees bent. Okay, this is really important. You want to come into a forward fold safely. So my belly is right up against my thighs here. Maybe I'll use that blanket later. Or you could walk your feet to your hands. All right, so what I want you to do here is just hang. Let the crown of your head hang down towards the floor. Now I've got my elbows propped up on my thighs here because I like that lengthening feeling in my spine. If you want to have your arms down here, do that. And you can use a prop here. So I've got a folding chair that sometimes I use for these kind of poses. Also, blocks are quite handy. And if you don't have blocks, but you see yourself doing yoga more regularly, I would purchase some. They're not expensive and they're quite handy. help you get into your poses and be safe. Plus, they just bring the floor up closer to you, right? So do a couple of those big breaths. Just let all of the tension go out. You can even just move your head around a little bit. Nothing forcing, okay? Just kind of taking it easy. You could shake your shoulders out. Ask what your body needs right now. Remember, we're making that very intentional connection to our body. This is your chance. And then just roll up to standing. Stack one vertebrae on top of the other until you're standing. Separate your feet out just a little bit. And we're going to do something called zipping up. So I was talking about chakras earlier. Those are the energy centers in the center of your body. In fact, this is called your central meridian. So what you're going to do is take your hands together right at your pubic bone, and you're going to draw them right up to your lower lip. We do that 3 times. And what we're doing is we're zipping up all of the energy centers. That was 2, right? I'm talking and I'm doing it at the same time. And 3. Bring your arms out and down and roll the shoulders. So zipping up that meridian, your hands have energy in them. So we're zipping that up, helps you to feel more confident, helps your mind to think more clearly. Okay. And it also helps protect you from negative energies. So you're around crabby people, zip up those energy centers in the middle there. Okay. So let's do this. Take your feet apart and we're just going to move a little bit. So I want you to move all of your joints. Start with your wrists and your elbows. And we're just going to move them and kind of shake them out. They feel a little cobwebby. And then jostle your shoulders a little bit. And then you can add your ankles and your knees and your hips. So this is a really great way to help break up adhesions. Open up your joints. Today I went and got a massage, and if you've ever gotten a massage, you know how they do all the rubbing and then they kind of gently pull on your joints to help open up that space. It's good. This is called shaking your gates. So take your feet a little bit wider, and if you feel like you could do a twist here, this is the way you shake your spinal gates. You twist. So I have my arms just kind of flinging from one side to the other. I should have showed you the feet first. When you do your rotations, you want to lift up your heel and pivot on the ball of your foot. Okay, so you're going to one side and then the other. And by doing this, again, adding the energy to your body, helping the circulation. I think it just feels really good. All right, so now we feel kind of energized. We're standing up. We're going to root down again in a standing balance pose. In fact, I'm going to get my helper right here and do some more grounding. All right, so bring all of your weight over here onto your left foot. Let's start with the left foot. All the weight on the left foot. Spread out your toes nice and wide and really suction cup your foot down. And then with the other foot, add like a kickstand. So you're on the ball of your foot here. Your heel is lifted, and you can either just kind of rest against your lower leg or out here. And then if it's available, see if you can lift up and put your foot on your lower leg. Okay. So this is tree pose. You probably figured that out. And then if you've got more to give, I feel like I'm not in the center of the screen. You can come up higher and you could put that same foot on your upper thigh. Keep pressing your knee out and melt your tailbone down. So if your butt is kind of sticking out, melt it down and then add the arms. So right now I want you to use your imagination and see this standing leg as a tap root. Okay, so you're really spreading that root down into the earth and gathering up all of that earth energy and just bringing it into you. Okay. And then you can just experiment and try some different things with your branches. You could turn your palms up, energy up. You could bring your arms into like a funnel shape. So bring me all the inspiration, right? And then we'll come over to the other side. So let that foot down. And by doing balancing, we're also strengthening the leg we were just standing on. You can tap it, maybe a little shake there. Thank you, leg. Thanks for holding me up. And then we'll come over to side 2 for our tree pose. Suction cup that bottom foot down. And then lift up the heel first, and then climb up. And then maybe, we'll see, or not. See, each day is different, right? Maybe one day you're standing great, and then another day you're feeling kind of wobbly. It's the state of that you're in. That's why we want to connect with our body and see where we are. Our body always gives us cues for what's going on, but a lot of times we don't pay attention. And then the noise, the body gets louder and louder and louder, and then we're sick. And then we're like, okay, I'm going to bed now. So when you're practicing yoga regularly, you're helping keep that connection strong and you're staying healthy. Okay. Another thing you can do, you can come out of this whenever you're ready, is take your shoes off and go outside and walk on the grass. Like get that good earth energy when you're feeling anxious, when you're feeling out of sorts. Get back into the vibration of the earth. You know, Heavenly Father made this amazing world for us to live in, the birds and the bushes and everything. And so take advantage and be out there. Now, if you live in Arizona like I do, you got to do it early in the morning or late at night because it's really hot right now. Okay, let's see where we're going next. Oh, yes. Okay. So come to the front of your mat. We're done with our tree pose for now. And with your feet together, bend your knees and stick your bottom back. This is called chair pose because it looks like you're sitting in a chair. So you can make this more intense by sitting lower. Make sure that your knees are, actually, I'll say it this way. Make sure the weight is in your heels, not your toes. So set your bottom back, okay? And then if you want to add more, you can bring your arms in front of you like this, or you could bring them up a little bit more. And maybe your chair pose is going to look a little more like this, where it's just like stool pose. You're just barely sitting down. So you can decide how intense you want to come into this pose. All right, hands to the thighs, and then step back. We're going to find a warrior pose. These are leg strengthening poses, but also it's an empowering pose. So with warrior 2, the front foot, the toes are facing the side wall. Can you see that? And then the back foot is at an angle. With warrior 2, your torso is facing the side. So shoulders are stacking over the hips. And then watch out for this knee because it usually will kind of collapse in. So you want to press it out gently towards your baby toe so that leg turns on. So the front leg, think about the femur bone, the thigh bone is spiraling outward. And then this thigh bone is spiraling inward. That's the direction we're going there. So once you've got the legs, you can come deeper, or maybe you need a break, and then add the arms. Shoulders together, arms reaching. Now, I want you to look down your front arm, okay, and do your best warrior face. Strong, powerful. Go lower if you can. All right, we're going to reach forward, put the elbow to the knee or the hand, and then reach the other hand up. This is called side angle, extended side angle. Also, if you've got more, you could take your hand and bring it right inside of your foot, or this is a great place for a block. You put your block right there and hold on to that. From here, and then your gaze is either looking straight ahead, up at the ceiling, or down at the floor. Press down into that front foot, and we're going to lift everything back to a sun warrior. Okay, so you can keep the front knee bent, or if you need a break, straighten out that front leg. And then we come back to warrior 2, float your hands down. Straighten your leg. Turn your toes forward. Not yet. Just changed my mind. We're going to go right over to the second side for warrior two. Bring your block with you if you want. So remember this, the foot set up, toes to the side, back foot at an angle, and then take your bent knee. When you're looking down at that front foot, you should be able to see your toes. If you can't see your feet, you probably have your knee going like that. So we always do bone stacking in yoga to stay safe. So stack the knee above the ankle, or back here is okay too. All right. Then bring the arms, stack the shoulders above the hips. Okay, nice long neck. Reach up through the crown of the head and then look down that front arm. A couple of breaths here. Also very energizing. Take the palm and lift it up towards the ceiling. Reach to make a nice long spine. Put your elbow on your knee and reach up. Remember all the options here. Another option would be take your arm up over your head. Watch this, okay? This is sometimes what happens where you dump into your shoulder. So you want to keep that space between the ear and the shoulder there. And then press down into the heel and the back foot. Come into your sun warrior. Come down more if you can, or take a break. All right, whatever you need. Float down. 2 straight legs now. Turn your toes forward and we'll take a little forward fold here. A couple of ways you can do this. I like to imagine there's a bar right here at my hips and I'm going up and over the bar, leading with the chest. So feel the backs of the legs are getting stretched here. And then you can come down to whatever you've got, a piece of furniture or blocks or the floor. So first we'll do a flat back. So reach the crown of your head forward and the tailbone back. Feel that length in the spine. So we've been talking a little bit about being grounded and settled, and I wanted to share a scripture in Colossians, however you say it. If you continue in the faith, grounded and settled, and be not moved away from the hope of the gospel, which ye have heard, and which was preached to every creature which is under heaven. And then Paul talks about it in Ephesians 2, being rooted and grounded in love. So really root and ground yourself. Let's bend the knees, bring your heels in, climb your hands up. And then we're going to find another pose standing. Last standing pose is called goddess pose or horse pose. A couple of names for it. So when you're bending your knees, you want to press your knees out toward your baby toes, and you're going to feel the legs engaging again. Okay, so drop down a little bit lower. Bring your hands right here. Actually, let's do it this way. Let's lift the hands up, straighten the legs, bring your hands into a diamond shape, and exhale down. So we'll breathe and move. Inhale up, hands together, exhale right down the center. Keep going. Inhale up and exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. One more. Breathe in and exhale down. Hands on your thighs, or if you want a little more, just for kicks and giggles, cactus arms. So make right angles with your elbows and your palms forward. Take a break if you need one. And squeeze those shoulder blades together. So you're getting stronger here. Your legs are getting stronger. Also the muscles in your back and your core. So this is like a whole body workout, even if it doesn't always feel like it. Hands down, straighten up, tap, tap, tap. And then we're going to make our way back down to the floor, to the mat. So you can just bend one knee down like this, and we're going to come down onto our backs. So I'm going to change my camera again. so I can get up close and personal and see you. There we go. Oh boy. I just remembered something I'm going to teach you that I love so much. I get so excited about these things. So come on down. Oh, mama. Was that fun? All that? Now comes the relaxing part, almost. So I want to talk to you for just a minute with your knees bent like this. We're going to do bridge, but not yet, about the throat chakra. Okay. So our bodies are meant to express, right? We have our voices, we have our feelings, and a lot of times when we're not used to expressing ourselves, maybe because of the way we were raised or whatever, we stuff our emotions down and we don't express. And when that happens, this energy center here gets kind of stagnant and closed. It's called the throat chakra. And so there are different poses, including this next pose, that really help to open up that energy center and help encourage you to express yourself with love, right? Express your truth with love, always with love. Doesn't mean you just go spouting off whatever you're feeling and thinking without regard. That's usually not so good. All right. So hearing your own sound of your voice is powerful. It's a powerful healing technique. And we're going to do a breathing technique called bumblebee breathing. In order to do this, I'm going to explain it first, and then you're going to stick your thumbs in your ear so you won't be able to hear me when you do it. So basically, you're going to breathe in, put your thumbs in your ears to kind of plug them, and then take your hands, spread your fingers out, and just put them like on the crown and on your forehead. And then you're going to exhale and hum. It's kind of like when you play the kazoo. Did you ever play the kazoo? And when you hum, you're going to feel the vibration inside of your head with your ears closed. So let's try it. Inhale, plug your ears, and hum and breathe out. Hmm. Did you try it? All right, let's try it again. This time when you breathe out and you hum, make some different sounds. So make your voice go higher, make it go lower. Look, you're in your own space, right? You don't need to worry about being self-conscious unless your family's around and, you know, tough beans, they can just deal with it. So try it again. Inhale, exhale, hum. Hmm. Doing this kind of breathing is a great way to connect with yourself and strengthen that area of your body, that throat chakra. Okay, so let's do one more pose here. Arms along your sides. Remember, everything is optional, so if you're not feeling this, you don't have to do it. But we are warmed up now after all those other poses. So press down with your feet, lift your bottom up, and then just climb up one vertebrae at a time. When you're doing this bridge pose, you don't want to turn your neck. So your eye gaze is right at the ceiling, arms are acting as supports, and then lower down. See if you can just really carefully put one vertebrae at a time on the mat when you come down. When you get all the way down to your tailbone, relax your glutes. In fact, you can give them a little tap there, because most of us have a tendency to squeeze our buns all the time, especially if you're one of those controlling type people. Don't ask me how I know that. All right, let's try it again. Press down with the feet. Thighs are parallel, so your legs are strong, and then lift up. Only as far as it feels safe to do. Again, listen to your body, and then lower back down. I'm taking it easy with my back tonight, so I'm not going up too high. Don't forget to come down and relax on purpose. Take a breath. And we'll go for 3 times. Press and lift. On this last one, see if you can come, if it's available, a little higher. So really press into those thighs. See if you can press your chest into your chin and then ease it back down. And that's over. All right, feet wide onto your mat, and then windshield wiper your knees from one side to the other, just resetting the spine. Oh, perfect. So we've got about 6 minutes that we're going to take at the end here for our relaxation pose. Remember how I said at the beginning of the class, we work on our breath, set ourselves, and then same thing at the end. So find a comfortable position for yourself, whether you want to extend your legs or bend them, whether you want some support under your back or not. You could even take, where's my blanket? Here's another one you could try, is make a tiny little roll to go under your neck. Not too high, just enough to support. So once you're in a position that feels comfortable, just return to your breathing. I wanted to share a little quote with you, and then we'll do a little scan. So Russell M. Nelson said in his talk, shoot, I didn't write the name of it down. I'll include it in case you want to read it because it's really good. He said, I stand in awe of the miracle of the human body. It is a magnificent creation, essential to our gradual ascent toward our ultimate divine potential. We cannot progress without it. In giving us the gift of a body, God has allowed us to take a vital step toward becoming more like Him. We are created in His image. Okay, so while you're in the space, being comfortable, allow your body to fully relax. Become aware of your breath. See if you can slow it down. And see if you can breathe more from the belly, like you're inflating a balloon, and less from the chest. So let the breath go deeper and fuller. Breathe in a way that is slow, deep, and rhythmic. This is creating a cue for your nervous system. It's safe to slow down. Now, with your eyes closed, start to scan your body, noticing any physical sensations that are there. Starting at the top of your head, and then just work your way down. And in your mind's eye, describe those sensations. Try to avoid labeling them as good or bad, or including a story with a sensation. We call it sensation, not pain. Simply observe, notice, and accept whatever comes up. Remembering that we can't change what we're not aware of. So this is a practice of awareness. Now bring your attention to your mind. Notice any thoughts that are present in the moment. Again, approaching this with non-judgment. Just like clouds floating across the blue sky of your mind, just Watch them pass by. And then bring your attention to your heart space. Notice any feelings or emotions that are present in this moment. Accepting everything just as it is. Approach this with loving kindness and compassion turned inward. And then finally coming back to the awareness of your breath. Notice how your body feels now as compared to when you began. This is information that you can use to guide you towards healing and resolution. So when you're at a place where you feel like you're ready to move, just take some small movements at first. Maybe move your hands and your feet. If your knees are bent, maybe you could stretch them and put your arms up over your head and just stretch really long. Luxuriate in those sensations that you're having in your body. This wonderful gift we've been given. And then you can bend your knees if you want to. You can snug them into your chest again. And then roll to your side, coming into this very familiar first position, fetal position. This is another good position when you're feeling out of sorts. Anything where you're kind of tucking up in a ball to recalibrate your nervous system. I like to call it body technology. Our bodies do so many things to affect our state of emotion if we take the time to figure out what that is. When you're ready, you can come to seated, or maybe you prefer to stay lying down, that's fine. If you're coming into seated, just sit yourself nice and tall. Draw the pelvic floor up, navel to the spine, shoulders down and back. Slide the chin in. And just hands resting comfortably, you can tip your chin down. Just let your awareness slide from your head, from the busy mind, and come into a deeper place in the body. And see if there's anything there for you to be aware of, for you to know. When you're ready, you can come back. Take a breath in and lift your arms up over your head, palms together. Exhale right into the heart. The spirit within me honors and sees the spirit within you. Namaste. I always finish my classes with a prayer. Dear Father in heaven, we're so grateful for our time together this evening. We're grateful for all of the many blessings that we have, especially grateful for these wonderful bodies that we have that allow us to experience life in all of its richness. We're grateful for all that we're able to do. Help us to be aware of what's happening with ourselves, to be more tuned in, to be accepting and loving towards our bodies, even and maybe especially when they're not doing the things we want them to be doing. Please watch over us as we go our separate ways tonight, that we might feel peace and a measure of calm. Bless those that are struggling right now, that they might feel your loving arms around them, and help us to feel that love as well, and to be able to shine it out to those that are in need. All of these things we pray for in the name of our beloved Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you guys so much. Hang on just 1 second for you live people, and I'll stop the recording. For those of you that are doing the recording, thanks for being here. Please reach out with any questions that you have, and of course, any feedback that you have for me.